There's a question humanity has been asking for thousands of years. Why is it that the Jewish people, a minority group, hold over 30% of the world's wealth? It's no coincidence. From small markets in the Middle East to the top financial firms on Wall Street, from humble coffee shops to the executive chairs of major banks, you'll find the presence of Jewish people everywhere. So where does the secret lie? It lies in their mindset. Jews don't just teach their children how to make money. They teach them how to think differently, live differently, and, most importantly, understand the true value of money. And today, am going to walk you through 17 success lessons from the Jewish people. These aren't dry theories, but real stories and philosophies carved out of the sweat, tears, and even blood of a people who once wandered the world. If you're listening right now, prepare yourself to see things differently, because in each mindset, you may see a reflection of yourself. And if you find value here, don't forget to follow the channel RICHMIND Hack. So together, we can build a community of people who dare to think big and live differently. Let's begin. Success mindset number 1. Small money is the foundation. Saving is discipline, not deprivation in Jerusalem. There's a story that every Jewish child grows up hearing. A little boy asked his father for a single coin every day so he could drop it into a clay piggy bank. One day, he lost a coin and cried his heart out. The father said, "You cry over a coin, but remember, every castle begins with a single brick." For Jews, a small coin is the foundation stone. They understand that without a foundation, no castle can stand. In many cultures, people shrug and say, "It's just $1, who cares?" But in Jewish families, parents teach the opposite. Precisely because it's just $1, you must respect it even more. Look at the financial world. Warren Buffett, the investing legend, once shared that he started by buying 6 cans of Coca-Cola and reselling them for just a few cents of profit. The Jewish mindset is the same. They never dismiss small money because they know great wealth is simply the accumulation of countless small amounts over time. But Jewish saving culture is not about suffering or self-denial. They don't torture themselves by dressing in rags or refusing to enjoy life. Quite the opposite. They enjoy life, but with financial discipline. Every expense is weighed. Does this add value? Does it grow money? Or does it just disappear into thin air? That's why you'll often see wealthy Jews driving modest cars or living in homes that aren't flashy. Not because they're stingy, but because they understand. The trap of wealth is flaunting wealth. The Jewish lesson is clear. He who cannot control a coin will never control a treasure. This is where many of us slip. We'll casually scroll Amazon or Shopee and spend a few bucks without thinking. But imagine if you spend just $2 a day on small stuff, that's over $700 a year. Enough to buy a valuable course, an investment book, or even launch a small project. Jews never ignore those calculations. To them, saving isn't just about keeping money. It's about keeping discipline. There's a famous story. A Jewish banker, even when signing multi-million-dollar contracts, would still carefully check calculations down to the last cent. When someone asked, "You're already so rich, why bother with pennies?" he smiled and said, "Because I respected every penny, I became who I am today." The lesson here is simple. Don't underestimate small money. Don't mistake saving for deprivation. See it as building a foundation so your financial castle stands strong. And if you truly want to begin your wealth journey, start with the small coin in your pocket today. See, even a single coin can hold a whole philosophy of life. But Jews don't stop there. They also have a unique way of thinking about conflict and argument, an area where most of us lose before we even begin. And that brings us to success mindset #2. Success mindset number 2, negotiate with understanding. Fair is not always equal. The Jewish people have an old proverb. If I win and you lose, that's not a negotiation. If we both win, that's the art. Unlike the common belief that negotiation is a win-lose battle, Jews see negotiation as the art of understanding people. They believe a deal only lasts when everyone walks away feeling it was fair. There's a famous story. 2 men went to a Jewish rabbi, arguing over how to split a loaf of bread. One man wanted it cut evenly in half. The other objected, saying he was hungrier and needed more. The rabbi smiled and said, "Splitting evenly may sound fair to the mouth, but it's not fair to the heart. The one who needs more should receive more." That is true fairness. This story reflects the Jewish philosophy in negotiation. It's not about splitting equally, it's about splitting rightly. In business, Jews don't rush to throw out a price or fight for the bigger share. Instead, they ask dozens of questions. What does the other side truly need? What is their biggest fear? What do they value even more than money? For Jews, negotiation is not a battle of words. It's a journey into someone else's mind. They search for the other person's real thirst, then offer the exact water that quenches it, so both walk away satisfied. Think about it. If you just want to sell a product, you'll waste your energy haggling over price. But if you focus on solving the customer's real pain, they'll happily pay double and still feel they got a great deal. That's the power of negotiating with understanding. One Jewish businessman once said, "When I sign a contract, I don't ask, how much did I profit? I ask, is my partner happy? If they're happy, they'll return. And when they return, I don't profit once. I profit for a lifetime." Jews always seek long-term victory, not short-term gain. While many enter negotiations with a mindset of take the bigger piece, Jews understand an evenly split pie will be eaten and gone, but a win-win relationship can create endless new pies. The lesson for you: don't just focus on your share, look into your partner's heart. Fairness is not always 50-50. True fairness is when everyone feels respected and satisfied. A smart deal doesn't end with a signature. It begins with trust. Jews aren't afraid to give up a little more today, as long as it secures lasting relationships tomorrow. They know money is temporary, but trust is permanent capital. Negotiation helps them protect relationships. But to protect financial freedom and clarity in life, Jews live by another golden rule: every dollar counts. And that brings us to success mindset #3. Success mindset number 3. Every dollar counts. Respect the small to secure the big. The Jewish people have a saying: he who ignores the small coin will never hold the bag of gold. At first, it sounds like a lesson in saving money. But in reality, it's a much deeper philosophy about how you see opportunity. Picture this: a young Jewish boy selling newspapers on the street. Each paper earns him just a few cents, but he never dismisses it. He learns how to smile at every customer, deliver on time, and carefully keep track of every single coin. Years later, when the chance came to open a store, it was this very habit, respecting even the smallest things, that allowed him to calculate, manage, and eventually build a business empire. Jews believe the dollar you ignore today could be the seed of hundreds tomorrow. And in life, no opportunity is ever too small. A chance meeting that seems accidental, a simple thank you, or doing a task with extra care. Any of these can become the chain that unlocks greater doors. At the marketplace, you'll often see Jews bargaining down to the last cent. Outsiders may think they're being petty, so stingy. But Jews know this. If you can't manage the pennies, you'll never manage the thousands or the millions that follow. In business, valuing the small things builds discipline. Money doesn't multiply on its own. Only human hands and minds can make it grow. And for steady hands and sharp minds, discipline begins with the smallest details. Always remember, a dollar is still money. It's not just a number. It's a reflection of your attitude toward money, toward opportunity, and toward life itself. And because Jews respect every single dollar, they've also come to understand something even greater. The most valuable asset isn't in your pocket, it's in your mind. Money can be lost. Opportunities can pass. But wisdom and independent thinking remain forever. That's why Jewish parents teach their children from a young age. Think with your own mind, never depend on the crowd. Success mindset number 4. Think for yourself, don't follow the crowd. There's a story often told in Jewish families. A little boy went with his mother to the market. He saw a crowd rushing to one stall, fighting to buy something because everyone's buying it, so it must be good. Excited, the boy tugged at his mother's sleeve. "Mom, Everyone's buying it. We should buy too. The mother smiled, leaned down, and said, "My son, if everyone is rushing in one direction, you must stop and ask, why? Do they buy because they know, or because they fear being left behind?" That lesson became a compass for life. The crowd can create noise, but not always truth. Jews teach their children, your head wasn't made to nod along. It was made to think differently. The crowd may cheer for a stock, chase after an investment, or follow the latest trend. But without independent thinking, you're just someone else's shadow, and eventually, you'll pay the price for their mistakes. The philosophy is clear, following the crowd is easy. But carving your own path is what creates real value. Jews believe it's precisely thinking differently that uncovers opportunities the majority overlook. In business or in life, if you only do what others do, you're just a copy. But if you dare to think, analyze, and ask why, you'll become the leader. Always remember, sheep follow the herd back to the pen. Only those who dare to break away can go far. And once you learn to think differently, there's an even deeper layer: leadership. For Jews, a true leader isn't the one who imposes power, but the one who listens and understands. Because without understanding, power is nothing more than an empty stick, incapable of taking people anywhere. Success mindset number 5. Lead with understanding, not authority. In the old marketplace, there were 2 shop owners. Mrs. Hong was known for a fiery temper. If an employee made a mistake, she would scold them loudly in front of everyone. People feared her, but they only worked to get by. No one stayed long. Her shop was always short-staffed, and even customers slowly drifted away. Mrs. B, on the other hand, was different. When an employee slipped up, she didn't shout. Instead, she gently asked, "You did it this way because you thought it was faster, right? But try this method. It's quicker and keeps the customers happy." Her employees felt heard and guided. They worked harder, treating the business as if it were their own. Customers felt the warmth too, and they kept coming back. The Jewish people have a saying, "An open heart opens doors. Authority only adds more locks." A team only becomes truly strong when its leader chooses understanding over control. The same is true in business, in management, and even within a family. A great father, mother, or boss isn't the one who forces others to listen. It's the one who knows how to listen to others. And that's why Jews often say, if you want to know who someone really is, look at how they use money. Because money isn't just a tool for transactions. It's a mirror that reflects true character. Success mindset number 6. Money is a mirror of true character. Picture a crystal clear mirror. When you smile, it reflects a smile. When you frown, it shows the exact same frown. Money works the same way. It doesn't change people, it simply reveals who they already are. A generous person with money becomes even more giving. A stingy person with wealth clutches every dollar tighter. A kind-hearted soul, once rich, will find ways to lift up the community. But someone driven by greed will only let that greed grow as their fortune grows. For Jewish people, money is like a mirror for the soul. It's not the final goal. It's a test of whether you can hold onto your character in the face of prosperity. That's why they teach their children. Learn to manage yourself before you manage wealth. Because where money flows is always guided by the heart. If you watch how someone spends, invests, or shares their money, you'll learn far more than by listening to what they say. That's why Jews believe true success doesn't lie in your wallet, but in the beliefs you plant in your mind. Wealth may fade, but faith and vision are the endless fuel for every journey toward prosperity. Success mindset number 7. Success starts with faith, not capital. Here's a hard truth most people don't want to face. Money can't save someone who doesn't believe in themselves. You could have hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pocket, but if your mind is full of fear, doubt, and the expectation of failure, that money will soon end up in someone else's hands. There's a famous Jewish story about a poor man who had nothing but a single silver coin. He went to the market, not to buy bread for himself, but to buy a seed. People laughed. "You're crazy. That's your last coin, and you're burying it in the dirt." But it was his faith in that little seed that saved his life. A season later, the seed became a tree. The tree bore fruit. The fruit brought money. And soon, from that tiny seed, an entire orchard grew. Now think about yourself. How many times have you killed an idea just because you thought, I don't have the capital? How many dreams have you buried behind the excuse, I don't have the money right now? The truth is, it's not money you're missing. It's belief. The Jewish mindset is clear. Money follows faith. Faith leads first. It's faith that lifts people out of poverty, that gives them courage to take the first risk, that fuels the persistence to survive failure. Money is just the bricks. Faith is the foundation. Without faith, you'll never have the courage to lay that first brick. Wake up. Stop blaming the lack of money. What you really need to build first is unshakable belief in your path. And here's the deeper lesson. Once you have faith, you'll see that success is never a solo game. Jewish people excel at collaboration because they know how to put aside prejudice and focus only on shared value. That's how they turn rivals into partners and small beginnings into powerful empires. Success mindset number 8. Collaborate without prejudice. Focus only on the value created together. In the market, there was once a woman selling vegetables and a man selling fish. At first glance, they had nothing in common, maybe even a bit of competition for customers. But soon they realized something powerful. People who bought fish often needed vegetables for their meal, and those who bought vegetables sometimes wanted fish to complete their dinner. So they teamed up, shared a stall, and supported each other. The result? Twice as many customers, higher sales for both, and no one lost anything. The Jewish people have a saying, don't look at who someone is, look at the value they bring. In business, they don't let prejudice blind them to opportunity. Someone who was your competitor yesterday could very well become your partner today, if working together creates profit for both. Many Jewish businesses grow because of this exact mindset. They pool resources to buy goods at lower costs, share expenses, and build networks together. Instead of clinging to a small piece for themselves, they open up to create something much larger with others. Prejudice only narrows your path in business. Collaboration, no matter with whom, expands it as long as both sides benefit. Of course, conflicts and partnerships are inevitable. But here's where Jewish wisdom shines. They don't focus on winning or losing. They focus on resolving issues, so both can keep moving forward. That wisdom is what keeps relationships strong and profits growing. Success mindset number 9. In conflict, they don't try to win. They find a solution where both sides benefit. In a Jewish family, 2 brothers ran a small grocery store together. One day, they had a heated argument over profits. One insisted the money should be reinvested, while the other wanted to keep it in cash for safety. If they kept fighting about who was right, their bond as brothers would have fractured, and the store might have collapsed. But instead of battling it out, they sat down and compromised. Half of the profits were reinvested, and the other half was set aside as reserves. The result? Not only did the store survive, but within a few years, it expanded into multiple branches. This reflects a powerful Jewish principle applied in both business and life. Conflict isn't about winning. It's about finding a resolution that allows both sides to move forward. They understand that winning an argument is only temporary, but resolving conflict in a way that preserves relationships, that's the real, long-term victory. In family, this keeps the home peaceful. In business, it keeps partners loyal and trust intact. And trust is worth more than money. And here's their secret weapon, knowledge of the law. By understanding the rules, they don't need to break them to get ahead. Instead, they use the law as both a shield and a sword, a way to protect themselves and to gain an edge in the marketplace. Success mindset number 10. Master the law. Turn it into a weapon instead of breaking it. In a busy fabric market, a Jewish merchant signed a contract to sell a large order of cloth to a business partner. But when fabric prices suddenly skyrocketed, the partner tried to back out, claiming the contract was invalid because of a few missing details. If the merchant had reacted in anger, he could have ended up in a long, costly legal battle that damaged his reputation. Instead, he stayed calm. He opened the contract and pointed out, while some minor details were missing, both parties had signed and stamped it, making it fully valid under commercial law. The partner was stunned. In the end, not only did he have to honor the deal, but he also paid extra fees for delaying. That story spread across the market. Everyone respected the Jewish merchant, not because he bent the rules, but because he knew the rules and used them as both a sharp sword and a strong shield. This is why Jewish people are hard to take advantage of anywhere in the world. They don't rely on luck, they rely on understanding. And here's the key: they don't wait until trouble comes to learn the law. Instead, they cultivate a lifelong habit of studying, recording, and carrying knowledge as their portable wealth, an asset that follows them anywhere in the world. Success mindset number 11. Lifelong learning. Knowledge is portable wealth. For the Jewish people, knowledge isn't a book locked away in a cabinet, nor a diploma hanging on a wall. They see knowledge as blood running through their veins. It travels with them everywhere, fueling every decision, every step they take in life. A Jewish family might be forced to leave their homeland, lose all their possessions, and arrive in a new country empty-handed. But there's one thing nobody can take away: what they've learned, written down, and ingrained in memory. That knowledge flows like blood, always alive, always moving, passed from parent to child, from one generation to the next. Because of this, they can rebuild their lives and create wealth wherever they go. Material assets can be lost, but knowledge remains. It is eternal, mobile, and the true luggage that stays with them for life. And when carrying this blood of knowledge, the Jewish people understand another vital lesson. Stay focused. Don't chase every new rabbit that shows up. Success mindset number 12. Stay consistent. Don't chase every new rabbit. There's an old saying, "The man who chases 2 rabbits catches none." For the Jewish people, this isn't just advice, it's a philosophy of life. They know the world is full of new rabbits, shiny opportunities, tempting invitations, hot new trends. But if you keep changing direction every time you see one, your original path will remain unfinished, your energy wasted, and in the end, you'll achieve nothing. Consistency means keeping your eyes on the road you chose, refusing to be distracted by the noise around you. Consistency builds power. Impatience and constant detours create a life without direction. Jewish parents remind their children, a well only gives water if you dig deep enough. A career only bears fruit if you pursue it to the end. And because of this steadfastness, they have the patience to see value where others see waste. The ability to turn trash into gold, to create value from what seems useless, is one of their greatest survival skills. Success mindset number 13. The art of turning trash into gold, creating value from the useless. The Jewish people have a special ability to see treasure in the ashes. Where others see junk, they see the chance for rebirth. An old book might hold the wisdom of a lifetime. A barren plot of land might become a thriving vineyard. An idea abandoned by many might grow into a billion-dollar company. This mindset was born from history. Time and again, they were exiled, stripped of wealth, forced to rebuild from nothing. And it was in those moments of loss that they discovered their greatest asset: the ability to turn adversity into strength, to transform the useless into the useful. Just as a glassblower turns raw sand into a crystal goblet, the Jewish people transform hardship into opportunity. This is more than survival. It's proof of a resilient mindset. Nothing is truly worthless. It's only waiting for someone with eyes sharp enough to see its hidden value. And from this habit of finding worth in small things, they also understand. Every choice, no matter how small, is like a brick laid down. Over the years, those bricks build a castle, the destiny of a lifetime. Mindset number 14. Small daily choices shape your destiny. There's a story about a Jewish family in Europe that started with nothing more than a simple fabric seller. He wasn't wealthy, didn't have connections, and had no power. What he did have was one habit. Every single day, he saved a small part of his profit to buy books for his children and taught them to read. His son grew up not only knowing how to sell fabric, but also how to manage accounts, negotiate, and build relationships. Each book, each nightly lesson, slowly shaped him into a businessman with vision. By the time the next generation came along, this family had moved from fabric trading into banking. Every coin saved, every piece of knowledge passed down, every relationship built, all of it flowed together into one continuous current. That current turned an ordinary family into a wealthy, influential dynasty that lasted for centuries. The Jewish people understand. Destiny isn't determined by one big decision in a single day, but by thousands of small choices made consistently over years. Like drops of water wearing away stone, habits and actions compound to carve the shape of an entire life. And once you understand the power of long-term accumulation, you also see the reverse truth. If the root is wrong, no amount of patchwork will hold. To change your future, you must fix the foundation, not just cover the cracks. Mindset number 15. Fix problems at the root. Dare to be different even against the crowd. Most people, when faced with a problem, look for the fastest patch, the easiest fix that keeps things moving. But Jewish wisdom says otherwise. They'd rather dig down to the root, even if it means tearing down what already exists, than live with a rotten foundation. One Jewish merchant once said, "If a boat leaks, patching the hole will only keep it afloat for a few more miles. But replacing the rotten plank saves the entire voyage." The hard truth is this: to truly change your life, sometimes you must go against the grain. While the crowd rushes to slap on quick fixes, Jewish thinkers calmly uncover the real cause and rebuild from there. That's why they not only survive crises, but often come out stronger than anyone else. The lesson? Don't fear being different. Don't fear the laughter when you tear down the old to build something new. The crowd may sprint ahead for a moment, but the one who repairs at the root travels further than anyone. And because they dare to dig deeper, Jewish parents instill one powerful habit in their children: asking better questions. Because the right question always points to the root. And once you see the root, the right path becomes clear. Mindset number 16. Ask better questions, don't just collect answers. Picture a tightrope walker balancing on a wire. He doesn't move forward on blind confidence alone. He constantly asks himself, is my footing steady? Is my balance centered? Is the rope shaking too much? It's those questions, not the answers, that keep him from falling. The Jewish people believe that questions are the balancing pole of the mind. Answers only give you one piece of the puzzle. Questions open the entire map. A Jewish child isn't praised for memorizing facts, but for asking, why is it this way? Could it be different? Because the truth is, the person who asks the right question will eventually find the right path. A sharp question can change your entire destiny, unlocking doors that those who only repeat answers will never see. And once the question is clear, they patiently take one step at a time toward the answer. They trust in the power of compounding, growing just 1% each day. Over time, those small, steady gains lead to the breakthrough that changes everything. Mindset number 17. The power of compounding. Grow 1% each day to create a giant leap over time. Picture a torch being passed down for thousands of years. The flame may look small at first, fragile even, but because it's protected, fed, and carried forward, it becomes an eternal fire that lights the way for an entire people. The Jewish people believe that true power doesn't come from one giant leap, but from tiny gains made every single day. A child learning one more word, a worker saving one more dollar, an entrepreneur improving by just 1%. Each of these small steps, over years, compounds into massive wealth, deep wisdom, and lasting legacy. This is the compounding effect, the same force that turns a grain of sand into a desert, a drop of water into an ocean, and a single idea into an entire civilization. And if the first 16 mindsets are the building blocks, this final one is the cement that holds them together. Without it, every principle is just theory. With it, The Jewish people proved that even a nation once scattered and oppressed could rise again, wealthy, powerful, and unforgettable in history. The real question isn't how fast you've moved so far. It's whether you're willing to move forward just 1% each day. Over a year, that 1% compounds into 37 times growth. Over a lifetime, it compounds into a legacy. So here's the choice. Will you stand by, watching the torch of knowledge burn in someone else's hands? Or will you light your own flame and pass it on to the next generation? You've just walked through 17 Jewish business mindsets, each one a piece of the puzzle, together forming a complete picture of wealth, discipline, and wisdom. Remember, mindset number 1 taught us to build our foundation with saving. Mindset number 16 reminded us to guard our capital like a tightrope walker guarding his balance. And mindset number 17, this torch of knowledge is the soul, the source that ensures every generation moves forward. If you take only one thing from this entire journey, let it be this: money can be lost, but knowledge will make you rich forever. If these 17 lessons gave you a new perspective, then light your torch of knowledge today by following RICHMIND Hack. Because here, we'll keep passing the flame, so each of us can not only grow rich, but leave behind an immortal legacy. Now, one last question for you. What will you do tomorrow? Keep running in circles, chasing quick money, only to waste years with nothing to show? Or start investing in yourself by learning a new skill, reading a new book, or building a new habit, so you can light a flame that never goes out? The Jewish people chose the second path. That's why they became leaders of the world, in both wisdom and wealth. The question is, will you dare to rise, take action, and become a torchbearer for the next generation?